The Basin Retirement Home. Behind the Basin Retirement Home is a church outlook facility that lingers services that by the Basin Retirement Center. A long time ago, these services for the George Washington house, which is on C Street. My real mother and father, grandfather, and great-father were on the George Washington emblem. This is 164. This is 2nd Street, Southwest. The original statues, emblems, physical address, the services for the missionaries, the service for the militia acts that housed and lived in the churches because George Washington was so protected because of the services of Geronimo, Crazy Horse, and Sitting Bull. Crazy Horse and Sitting Bull, and the increments, as you can see from the location on the mountain ridge. Mountain Ridge where it has a water reserve unit, radar, a G5 access, which used to be G4, now it's G5, has been updated. The cul-de-sac area, the fire department training facility, and services outlooks. The original tree that stands George Washington's tree and sat in front of the Freda Courthouse. This original tree that they cut down at the Freda Courthouse is this is the original documentary of the tree that was cut down that commuted here to Washington to fight off Geronimo, Sitting Bull, and also Crazy Horse, and also militia acts and the siblings of the Indian reservations here. That goes into Columbia Park, which is the Kennewick Man. Also the Kennewick Man, which is Andy Miller's office, prosecutor's office. It still stands as Prosser. And there are increments of settlements, pilgrims, and also militia acts that are considered to be a war program. And that's Queens Gate, this compound facility for training facilities and services. They got the war compound facility, and they got the dead bodies and swine flu, of course the virus that epidemic that occurred, like the Black Plague, where George Washington's enemies and services that fell to the last fall of the services of the wagons and the cavalries and service for, which is the railroad system here we got here connected to Freda. Now this is the original tree that stands. The original document and services of historic is still standing. They didn't take this away. The Freda Courthouse, the trees are gone, which is a big loss. But the roof and the increments, and this is the Basin Retirement Home. This is the militia acts, the services nursing program like Gonzaga University, Stanford University, also Notre Dame, and also the Utah. Utah had a earthquake, and California State had an earthquake. Utah had an earthquake. And their temple, their trump, is missing off the temple. Since they had an earthquake, the BYU Utah, which is Amtrak station that goes into Salt Lake City, is taken down. See, this bench is original wood, bark, original tree limb. That's a bench. You got nurse programs, and also the wood that's cut on stumps, original, and also the church. And the brick and masonry is up on, and off the roof is original. Still historic, just like Gonzaga University back in when it first burnt down, and then also White House burnt down, and the files and archives got burnt out and pulled out of there. And Ben Franklin's son was a criminal convict. He went to prison. He was a criminal. And Ben Franklin's homeboys and friends came in here. Abraham Lincoln was murdered on the 3rd attempt. His first and second and third attempt was in the theater. And it was plotted to kill Abraham Lincoln, the president. George Washington has his adversaries, James Madison, Franklin Towns Roosevelt, and so forth, Theodore Johnson, so forth. Right, George Washington's Militia Act and military staff and military arrangements for protecting the area of Mr. George Washington. The mountain ridge that's about where the war wagons and cattle and horse are shipped, the bisons and cattle that were taken from the Indians' land to provide services for the militia acts and military staff and staff that moved into the Ferry Courthouse, and also the house set for the pilgrims for the missionaries. These are immediate missionaries, educated missionary services. Massachusetts, Harvard, Stanford, Notre Dame, BYU, Utah, and which they had an earthquake, high magnitude earthquake, and also North California, Nancy Palooza, and also their services. Mr. Ronald Reagan Ranch in Santa Barbara, but their outreach program and services, providing services for people that have earthquake procedures like San Francisco. But Northern California is San Jose, California, where Ajmer Singh Nijjar, residency for, he wants $600,000 from Bank of America. He wants $1 million. Sean Logan, the mayor of Othello, wants $3.5 million. Jim Logan in Carpicaso at 645 11th Street in Othello, Washington, and also Ajmer real mother and grandfather wants another $80,000 for 225 10th Avenue. So this is pretty much the appearance after the fact of having an earthquake in California and Utah. Utah has a railroad track that connects to Amtrak station. California has Amtrak station connected to San Luis Obispo. Major services, Santa Maria, Los Angeles Airport, and also International Airport here in Mos Lake. And the services for the G5 and the antennas for G4 for Verizon, AT&T, and Smart Talk, and also T-Mobile, and also Motorola, people that are activating their services. There's services right there, and that's Smart Talk right there. There's two services, AT&T, Sprint, and also Verizon, and also Smart Talk, and also Motorola, and also they have the T-Mobile. So they have all these. This is organized in 1909, and first church. This is a militia. This is a war crime warehouse. This is where the enactments of the first World War I, World War II, immediate family members and military staff or in services at war, World War I, World War II, and also the George Washington and Abraham Lincoln and Ben Franklin was generating the electricity, the electric bulb. So they came into this enactment and organized themselves, became carpenters, just like Jesus Christ Almighty, and put it in their ways of discretionary of changing the 118 chapters in the Christian Bible. And then moved on to the possession, which would be the church here. And these war wagons upstairs above are G5s, not G4s. Updated. This is the original tree from the Ferry Courthouse. This one is the same tree where George Washington and the cherry tree was cut down and landowners, land stamps were created. This is the Basin Retirement Home. We got the monument. We got the entranceway. Wedding valves arrangements as newlyweds for BYU, Brigham Young University, and Utah Mormons. And they got this physical address on the entranceway, of course, 164. Long time ago. See this bench now has it versus the bench that originally has the original wood on wooden stacks. And this is the Basin Retirement Home. The nurse program, the Christian nurse program, the person. Now Utah University in Utah and Salt Lake City, the Temple of Justice is broken apart, as you can see. Notre Dame was caught on fire. The White House was caught on fire. Gonzaga was caught on fire. And the nurses in the program and architects for the roofing. And they have increments and services. And George Washington Abraham Lincoln, and they assassinated Abraham Lincoln because Ben Franklin generated nuclear energy in turn, and he's a war criminal. So their services were merged into a church facility, militia enactment, World War I, World War II, and also nuclear war as we speak. And the militia active military status professionals are disguised themselves as a upbringing services. As Utah fell to the ground, magnitude 6 point, Northern California, Los Angeles, LA International Airport are arraigned in their long magnitude services for their earthquake dispensing, like San Francisco, Beverly Hills, and that's Donald Trump administration office and their services for legend, and then also responding to their liquor city called USS Abraham, George Washington, USS Washington. Now these services they have here are just a small increments. If you can see the outlook of those antennas of the Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, and Smart Talk merging in one activations for our services we provide, which will be done. No stopping it. Tax forms, UBI numbers, deposit inquiries. And services are being updated. This is a historic house back in 1919. That was the Indian trade-off and merging bridges and creating war and war programs, which is the dam, and the dam, Liquor Dam, to provide services for it. Now this is base and retirement. See the military staff members and family members that merged on, changing their lives to a new perspective. Their era called G5. Now the G5 is Microsoft components, Microsoft Edge, Microsoft Windows. You pay that price once, you take that contract, you finalize that contract, it's your window for life. You pay for those services and you merge your family plan and be activated and set their increments onto your specifications, and you can put it onto your laptop, download it, submit it, and it's yours forever. Nobody can ever take that away from you. This is the Basin Retirement Home. Basin Retirement Home, and this is equal housing opportunity. Here at the, of course, the Basin Retirement Center here in Freedom, Washington. These services that they have in the Basin Retirement Center, we got a 3-story, 1, 2, 3, and the POD is right across the street. George Washington House is right across from Freight House. The lawyer law firm Washington Bar Association is George Washington House. Grandmother, mother, and also the military staff members, admirals, NATO admirals, generals, nurses, live here, reside here. 8131 is headquarters, and that's Kennewick, Washington. The Kennewick man is no longer existing at Columbia Park. Artifacts are taken and put in Mueller's administration, and that's my grandma, mother, and immediate family member that's on the mausoleum. This is Basin Retirement Center. This is George Washington. 1200, 1200, 1300, 1700s, 1800s. Headstones are here in plaque, in writing, in black and white.